Hello there viewers, welcome back to another episode of Citie Skylines. Sorry for the break in between episodes, I had a computer issue. If you follow my other channel, you will know all about it. But of course, you know New York City is taking shape, and so far so good. Thank you to everyone that's watching this, by the way. It's so cool to see so many people invested in my Citie Skylines stuff as well as my Football Manager stuff. So welcome aboard. If you enjoy the videos, make sure you give them a like. This is what we have so far as we revert back to where we were when I started the lovely little intro piece. You can see the avenues is the next thing we're going to focus on. A few people in the comments saying this is going to be tricky to do and it might create a massive bottleneck of people in different places. I don't necessarily think you're wrong. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all operates. Whether you have to make this one way and so almost make like a huge roundabout in some sense. I guess that's the way I'm looking at this at the moment. And then obviously building avenues and blocks in between. That's going to be curious. But we're certainly going to use this as our beginning point. Ellie, my fiance, pointed out that it's a bit annoying, Ben, that you don't have a line that goes parallel alongside this part of road. I don't disagree with that, and I actually think maybe turning this corner into a roundabout, because there's kind of a roundabout in New York if you know the place. I'll bring a graphic up on screen now, so it looks like that in real life. So in some sense, I do want to replicate that in this corner. I think we'll leave that for a future episode though, and focus on this sort of in-betweeny bit for now, and building out the area around this bit, because of course we want to keep growing the population. That's important. And so far, things are looking pretty good. We're not too far away, 2,200 before we become is that a busy town? No, a boom town. That should be exciting. And with a boom town, you also get another block to build into. We also get recycling, which can really help with the way the rubbish is obviously distributed, and it doesn't put so much strain on those as long as you've got the services to recycle. And yeah, lots of different roads coming into play, a bus depot, a cemetery, things that we definitely need at some point, and some other stuff that is not quite as important, but we'll still find to be useful. I should say, one of the DLCs you can have is natural disasters, where you can have hurricanes and tsunamis and earthquakes and all sorts. I don't have it on at the moment. I think what would be kind of cool, once we're loads into this and I can know safely that I can build without it being destroyed, we turn those on and we play a few episodes where we deal with the incoming natural disasters that come our way. That could be quite exciting. A tsunami, I suspect, would absolutely ruin us. That would not be good at all. Oh, look at the clouds. Aren't the clouds beautiful? Right, let's delve in then and continue. You can see straight off the bat, we've got a lot of people living here, but not enough places for them to work. So more industry and more services are going to be required. Straight away, I look at this area here and think that we could maybe build something in it. Unless we go around the outside of this area, that might be a better shot for us actually. We don't have to make it 4 deep or anything like that, because I don't want it to build onto this road. So we're going to do 3 deep. Down to there like that. I'm going to do the same thing, similar thing over on that side as well. There you are, look lovely. That should build up straight away, no messing about. And in fact, we can probably include some more down here as well, just so we get as much as we possibly can. I think water-wise we're absolutely fine. Have we got enough water? Yeah, I mean, we're not even close to that. And electricity-wise as well, loads of room to manoeuvre. We do need a few more shops, so we'll have to put a few of those in. I think having a shop next to the landfill, it's not ideal. You wouldn't want to have your dinner there, would you? I don't know what's going to build up there. But you do need to put a few shops and whatnot, I find, around the industrial areas as well, because obviously people work there, so they might want to use the facilities in that area. And apparently, according to this, we need a few more around this area as well. Let's put a shop down on this corner as we continue to build out these blocks. We've straightened this up now, so that looks quite neat and tidy. We can be happy about that. Just because it's annoying me, viewers, this one at the end here is not right. So just there we go. So it's going to go down there. Or do I want it to go up that way? It's tricky to know. Again, we still have to deal with all this at some point. I've mentioned about 15 times now it's going to go underground, and of course we'll get to that at some stage. I'm just debating whether we do turn this into sort of a really big one-way system, just so it works properly and operates well. We could then connect these roads to this road that will be underground, and it will provide an in and out that should make the city operate a little better. Of course, I want to have loads of buildings in this area, some really big high-rises as well, to look really cool. But right now, I'm not sure it's what we want. I don't know. I'm not sure about this either. Maybe we could do it on the other side. I'm concerned about the fact we don't have a road here. At least put it in my head. I feel like we need to have symmetrical roads, one there and one there. I don't know. We'll cross that particular, not actually a bridge, when we come to it. So you can see some of our resources, or some of our wants and needs of the city continue to expand. Some shops, you can see there it destroyed itself. I do have a mod, I should say that. I do have a mod, which means that if a building does shut down and it's not being used, or it's not doing particularly well, it will remove itself and rebuild naturally on its own. I need to sneeze, this is new. Okay, I think we're good. I think I've recovered from the sneezing. Although hay fever season, isn't it? Which is strange because there's not too many trees on this part of Manhattan, but apparently it's a thing. Do we bring this out towards this area as well? And do we start to mould the outside of our city? I think that's what we should do in this episode. I think we should begin to mould the one-way system that goes around the outside. Now, I'm going to start with a 2-lane road. I think at some point that will expand. We're going to use this tool, the free roam road tool, as you'll see in a moment. It just allows you to click and continue as you go along, like this, you see. So you don't have to just keep making it and making it and making it. We're going to go quite close. It will help to build out a little more, which I think can be quite nice. I think having a ferry system along the bottom here would be really nice. Of course, Battery Park down here as well. So we'll build a park and hopefully that will operate well in some way. Hopefully that goes under, does it? Yes, it does. Perfect. And you can already see now, just by doing this, it begins to take shape a lot more. I just need to make sure it definitely goes under that bridge. I'm a little bit concerned. If not, we can go underground. But it looks as if to me like it's okay. We can continue to do so. These water pipes are going to be a bit of an issue. They're in the way at the moment, so I don't know if we wait to move those, but you can see straight away now we have this outer ring. It's not really a ring, you know what I'm saying, this outer road that we can connect different things up to, and yeah, it will help with our traffic flow, because at the moment everything comes through this roundabout pretty much and goes off there, although look, quite a few cars take that road, which is quite interesting. They're going to there? Not on that occasion, apparently. Let's build that out towards that direction then, and as I say, continue to build out this area. We can make it a little bit more New Yorky in a sense. Again, it's difficult to find the right vibe between having like really highly built up residential and having open residential, because that's all we can use at the moment. It's quite difficult to find that balance in between. I think now we know the area in which we can build out to here, though. We'll do that a little bit more. You might remember I deleted some roads in the earlier episodes because I didn't know how far I'd be able to go. I now realise we can go a little bit further. These should probably be quite blocky. The good thing about City Skylines is if you do decide, that's 20 there, to build over, it'll destroy it, but it'll build up again relatively quickly, especially if you're in need of more industrial areas. But again, so far, viewers, so good. I'm quite happy. I think it looks quite good. It looks quite nice. I feel like this area is building out quite nicely. I don't think it's going to stay as this. Once we get office blocks, we can, as I said before, we can turn this into Wall Street, and we definitely will do that. We probably need to do a similar thing down here in terms of blocks. So we're going to have a road there like that. That's going to go down all the way to there. And I think the same thing is going to happen here as well. Again, we're going to destroy some roads doing this, but I don't really, if I'm honest, have a choice. And we can build those out in that fashion as well. So those roads can be used a little more, and then maybe, I don't know what we'll have there, maybe a park could go in there. Again, I'll need to look at some maps of New York really to figure out if it can make sense as we can sort of blend it all in together. We're going to make another road here, I think, and build off. You don't want to create too much, again, you don't want to create too much of a bottleneck. That can be a real issue with cities sometimes, as we sort of corner that off a little bit. Do I want to have a road that goes sort of down like that? I just think that looks quite nice, actually. From above as well, you can see we're really starting to build out, and it means we can do a lot more housing around this area and probably put a school in somewhere. Maybe there, a high school in there makes a lot of sense to me as our money continues to build up. But we definitely need more housing. That's becoming the issue right now. Our population not growing as quickly as it was before. Again, industrial areas probably need to take priority. I think for now, as much as I don't like to do it, we will fill that whole thing in because there's a massive demand for it. So to fill a big gap like that should, in theory, be really useful for us. Now, I mentioned a high school. We have unlocked it, but we don't have, you can see, so far, no high school. We don't quite have the money to afford the high school. There are two high schools I have. I have one here as well, which is Phoenix High School, which fits a 3x6 grid. So that's quite handy, and it does fit into that gap right there. It also fits there, maybe. I quite like it there, you know. That looks quite nice. Maybe over on this side, we can create maybe a bit more of a back field for it. Because if you went to school in England, again, maybe not so in America, especially in places like New York, but you'd have a big area, a big field behind you where you would play and do sports and things like that. So we will do that. We've unlocked the trees as well, so we can use one of the tree tools maybe to sort of just like we're being a little more creative with this. And then we could have built a fence maybe along the outside as well. We've got a general park fence. Are there any fences that make more sense with schools? Maybe a wooden fence. I don't know, should we do that so we can build the wooden fence around? Maybe so. We could go up to maybe there, and then pull that across to there, and then put it down here like that. So again, we're creating that idea of having more of a field to the school. If you build that up there, and then we can sort of fill the rest of the gaps, maybe with some trees and things like that, make it look a little bit more natural. You can get nice and creative with this sort of thing. Again, I'll show you here. If you go to, I need to figure out which one it is now. This is the problem. You don't play cities for a little bit, you get lost. Benches, of course. You might have people at the school who want to eat their food outside. So I'll put a few nice park benches in there. Maybe a different colour bench as well. Throw that in there. A bin in case they want to dispose of any rubbish. Maybe a light as well. Just pop some lights in there. See, I'm making it look pretty. That's like sort of your sort of outside eatery area. We've already got some benches, people going to the school already. And then again, we can fill it in with some trees as well. If you just sort of put some trees around these corners, just to make it a little bit more private. And yeah, quite like that. I think early stages, relatively creative. It creates a bit of a gap there as well. And yeah, the school's starting to take shape. Quite like that. I think that as a basic sort of back area for the school, that's not too bad. I'll put some like little bushes in around here as well. I think. Just like that, just to try and give it a little bit of a more natural look. We might do a few more changes to that as well. But you can see already it looks a little more private, doesn't it, as a high school, and the residents are definitely going to like that as well. I mentioned before the impact that parks can have. I've already put one in. I might put like a little playground down here somewhere if we've got a smaller playground, have we? That one doesn't quite fit. That one does. It does. It's quite near the school as well. So on this corner, we're going to pop a playground in. You saw it there. Look, these going slightly bluer. The bluer it is for the residential area, the more they like it. We still need to focus on that road over there. I'm worried about my water. And you can already see the polluted water starting to make its way down a little bit as well from there. I mean, we have to clean that up at some point. I'm sorry to the Atlantic Ocean, which I'm sure it's going to get to eventually at some point if it carries on in this fashion. But so far, so good. We still need to increase our population, so we will do just that. We'll use these roads here to build out. I'm not going to connect these ones, though. I want these to sort of be singular. I don't want cars to come in and go that way. It really will create a bottleneck then if you have a crossroads this close down. It's already getting a little bit like that if we're not too careful. But we will build roads maybe just off there instead. So it still operates in a similar way. You're still able to fill the spaces, but it's just not going to be quite as hectic. If we now do this and this, that should increase our population by a few hundred long term. You can see at the bottom how many people are joining weekly. And that'll start to go up. It's currently at plus sort of 2.5 or whatever, but it'll continue to fly up. And of course, when you build new houses, you get this influx of new cars all the time, and because it's quite a long way for them to get to, maybe it's happening at a slightly slower rate than normal. But you can already see it was at 5 and 2s before. It's now up to 34, 77. So people are definitely going to start entering the city in bigger numbers the closer we get to it. I think we can build this area out as residential as well. Obviously we're not straight here, which is a bit annoying, but there's not really a way around that because of what we want to do with the way the park's going to operate. Of course, what we were talking about before, or these roads that go down, we can always build the park out a little more. That's a solid 150 there in terms of length. We can build trees so it looks a lot neater there. And maybe do a similar thing here. I'm going to do this as a guide for myself because I'd quite like to be able to have it in like that. So you sort of pat the park in to that grid system of 32 by 150. And again, it looks a little bit more realistic now, doesn't it, with the roads either side. I think you kind of have to do that. Whether those roads get bigger or not, I'm not too sure. We can obviously put the Met in around here somewhere as well. That'll look kind of cool. I think there's a like a build option for that. Oh, water. We missed an area. That's my mistake. Blimey. So you've got to be on hand at all times, otherwise you miss things, and it gets a little tragic. But what do we think so far, viewers? Give me your thoughts in the comment section. Do you like? What do you think about the high school? I want your thoughts on that. Do you think that looks quite neat and tidy the way it builds out? I think we can maybe have some more things around there, and maybe this area can be utilised in some fashion. I think one thing that you should always do on City Skylines is leave areas to be nothing. I think sometimes you get a little bit caught up. With a New York build, it must be said, you can't really do that. But in your builds that you may be doing at home, if you're new to the game and you're picking it up and you're playing it, haven't seen me give it a go, don't worry too much about leaving like big blank open spaces. You won't see me do that all that much in this, but I mean, do bear it in mind because it can get really important to just let it be free and let it roam a little more. Right, I'm just thinking in terms of some of these outer roads. We've so far got it going one way. I might make it go both ways in... see, this is quite bold because we're going to put in more of a motorway, a 6-lane road, 3 on either side. And it means I'd be replacing all of these roads. And it would be a big old road. And in New York, it is pretty big. There's a few areas where it goes one way, but it's a bigger road. And I don't know whether it sort of will... I think maybe motorway it down this lane here, so it could go straight all the way down. But aside from that, I'm not sure that's what I want to do. I guess in theory, we can continue to build this road up here a little more. We've got the time to do it, so let's give it a go. I know people want these episodes to be really, really long, but I think having them as like short, bite-sized episodes is nicer. There's some people that are like desperate, make these like 3 hours long, things like that, but you got to remember, not everyone has got the time to commit. So I want to try and appeal to everyone. If you've got the time, you'll still be able to watch it. Whereas if you haven't, I want you to be able to watch it. You know, it's that sort of thing. We're just trying to figure out how much we need to bend this round. We can put some really nice piers on along this side as well. That'll look really cool because they can go out into the river. There's quite a lot in New York as well in that fashion. So far, so good. It's actually going a different direction. So we've got a little bit of a clash there. I think to fix it, we could just put... I mean, I'm not going to do this forever, but you could just do that. So you've obviously got one going one way, one going the other way, and again, connect this road. But we're going to figure out this particular area in terms of everything else as well. It'll almost be a roundabout. It probably will be a roundabout in some fashion, and this roundabout may well go. But because we've got such a strong entry point here and an exit point here, the roundabout is a bit of a necessary evil in New York. I feel like you kind of have to have it as much as we don't really want it. It's going to be interesting to see how it develops in that particular area. I'm going to have to destroy a house to build a road here, as I want to continue to build out this area as residential, because I think, again, we're going to need to grow our population more and more. I think what we'll do is when we get to the next marker on this, we're going to stop there, but we'll keep battling on. And yeah, so far so good. You'll notice we don't need all these power lines now either, because we mentioned before of how it connects up and works. I think that one is connected despite not being on it. You don't have to put power lines everywhere, and the bigger your city grows out, the less power lines required, so that's really helpful. Again, more housing in there. I'm actually not going to do this end one because I might make another road going down here. Yeah, I will. I need to sneeze again. I'm ever so sorry. It's the hay fever. I don't know if I mentioned it in a previous episode, but I'm 30 years of age soon, and I say soon. I'm 29 in about a week, 2 weeks. But I've started to develop hay fever, and I've never had it in my life before. And now it's decided, yeah, let's give him some of that. Thanks very much, world. I don't know why this is a thing. It's really hurting my chest. But we're gonna battle on again. We've got how long left to go until we reach this population? So about 300 away. So that should make a big hit in that. Again, we can do a little bit more down here as well. So we can really start to grow this out now with more and more residential. You can see that it's growing nicely, which means we can get rid of that power line because it's all going to connect up. Maybe that one as well, but I don't know, maybe not quite yet. Obviously, you've got to be careful. You can't put housing too close to busy roads. Luckily, there's some sound barriers on here, so I think the people who live there will be okay with it. I don't think we've unlocked the highway sound barrier, have we? No, not yet. You do unlock a road which has got sound barriers on it, but I think that's already pre-built in for this exact reason. Lots of houses, lots of cars travelling into the city. We could maybe make this a little bit longer because there's 3 ways you can go. Remember, you can go forward, you can go right and left. So maybe making this into 3 would work, but it does bring in cars slightly slower, which helps with traffic control, I think. So maybe not, but apparently right now, we need a load more housing. So we're going to do that. I think that's going to build up. Again, we've got this issue here now, that this road is not parallel to all the other roads, which OCD-wise is not good for any of us. I don't think any of us are happy about that, but we don't really have a choice. We are going to try and find a way to counteract that, though, so it doesn't look quite as ridiculous. Now, there's 2 ways we can do that. We can either put bends in the roads. So we'd start, say, here, maybe, not quite there, probably there, and then go down 15 and then just bend it like that. And we could do that in a few other places as well. So you go slightly further across, again 15, and then just bend it across. So it does look a little bit more natural in this fashion. I think that's the way we're going to go about it. Again, it doesn't look amazing, it doesn't look great, but it does give a little bit more sort of natural symmetry. I think. In my brain it does. So I guess that's what we're going with. My brain's going to decide for us on this one. And then these roads, though, can be slightly straighter. So you've got a little bit of a mix now of the straighter roads and some bendy, curvy ones. That then create, obviously, we can make all this housing. And then eventually you probably won't even notice, to be honest, gang. If I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to go big here. We're going to fill this whole space. Look at this. This is going to be beastly. Boom. Look at that. Beautiful. And, oh, we didn't quite catch these areas down here. But some of them we can turn into shops, and I'm going to turn into shops. Like that one's going to be a shop. That little corner there is going to be a shop. So's that. We'll do the same thing over on this side. They're going to be shops. I'd like these to be bigger buildings, really, but we haven't unlocked like high-rise towers and things like that. So we can always change it at some point and alter that. But again, we're going to get a nice area of growth here. Make sure you've got water covering the area that burns. That's going to be a nightmare. To there. Oh, nearly to there. Goodness me. To there. Yes. Right. And it should cover the full area in which it's building out. And that should, hopefully, gang, bring us neatly to our population limit. And New York City is starting to grow. This area, we really want it to be like high-rise office blocks. I should have unlocked a few more now, so I can give you an idea of what I'd like to build. Things like this can start to sort of go in there. As there it is, Boomtown. We made it, viewers, and we've got lots of new square as well that will give us a little bit more wiggle room with certain things. We'll focus recycling plastic, free Wi-Fi, large roundabout is there now as well as some nice intersections. We can get all those involved at some point, I'm sure, as well as the 4 lanes with bus lanes. And I think a bus station might be the thing that we look at in tomorrow's episode as well. But if you enjoyed this one, again, please do leave a like on it. Thank you so much for the support on these videos. It's really nice to see people getting involved and enjoying it. And we will return to New York City Skylines again tomorrow. Goodbye.